You'll be fine.
Norris?
Well, we really weren't doing any business, and it was a waste of time, me just standing about, and, well, I thought we'd save on electricity with the lights off, and I just thought I'd pop by.
Thank you.
Mrs. Rita Sullivan?
Chesney, I'd just like you to go over what happened in the shop in a little bit more detail. When Mrs. Sullivan touched you, she gave you a cuff, didn't she?
She hit me. She hit me dead hard. It really hurt.
And after that blow, you don't remember anything until you came to in the hospital?
No.
I want to be totally clear. After the cuff, you don't remember anything.
No.
So if you don't remember anything after the cuff, you can't possibly know that it was that cuff that forced you to trip and fall over.
No.
Thank you, Chesney. Now, let's move on to talk about what happened in the hospital. You say...
No, just a sec. It's wrong, innit? I've got that bit wrong.
What have you got wrong, Chesney?
I do remember something else.
And what would that be?
The shelves.
You remember banging yourself on the shelves, do you?
Yeah.
Thank you. Now, let's get back to when you woke up in the hospital.
No, I remember her belting me. It were her what slammed me against the shelves.
Thank you, Chesney. That will be all. Well, I'd never say the lad were an angel. I've had to bring him up on my own, and he's a normal lad. Bit of a handful. I mean, they all are at that age, aren't they? Or they should be. Kicking a ball about, making a bit of noise. That's how he was, bless him. Now, since this happened, I don't recognise him. He's stuck in all day, scared to go out. Can't remember anything for 5 minutes, just sits watching telly.
And how is your boy physically?
Oh, it's really embarrassing, is this? I've got a 9-year-old who wets the bed. I thought I'd lived through all that.
Thank you.
Dear, it'll be all right.
So we're quite clear then. You admit to striking the boy.
I gave him a little clip. That was all. And that was because I'd caught him in
I
the
didn't ask you what the justification for the blow was. There really is no justification for striking a minor. Unless, of course, you're claiming it was in self-defense. Are you?
No, of course not.
So you struck him. And the blow was of such an intensity that it hurtled the boy into a collision with some shelving.
No, that's not what happened. After I'd clipped him, he ran off and he tripped and fell banging his head on the
I'm
shelves.
sorry, what are you saying? That the shelf incident was not a consequence of your blow?
Yes. No, it wasn't. The boy just tripped and fell as he was running away.
Are you implying that the boy has fabricated this whole tale?
No, I don't know.
So are you saying that he left your shop after a mild tap and within hours was medically diagnosed with extreme symptoms? Can you explain why they were so severe?
I don't have any idea.
Perhaps that's not surprising. Thank you.
Sorry, excuse me. What did you mean by that?
That you cannot come up with an alternative explanation of how this boy received his injuries.
Oh, yes, I can. Easily. It's all a pack of lies.
Lies? What do you mean by that, Mrs. Sullivan? Are you suggesting that the mother and 9-year-old boy who you admit to having struck are not telling the truth about what happened?
I am.
No further questions. Thank you.
The defendant will stand. We find the case proved and the defendant guilty.
Yes! Don't believe it.
In view of your hitherto unblemished record, and indeed your age, we do not consider there is any necessity for a custodial sentence. On the other hand, The court takes a severe view of assaults on young people and believes that such behaviour must be discouraged. You will pay a fine of £500. Further to this, you are ordered to pay compensation to your victim in the sum of, again, £500. Do you wish to ask for time to pay?
No. But I tell you what I do wish for. I wish you lot up there had an ounce of common sense between you.
Sit down, Mrs. Sullivan.
You sit up there, laying down the law. It's pathetic. You haven't a clue. You've sat there swallowing a pack of lies off a little lad who's had a trumped-up tale drummed into him by his mother and a fancy man.
Sit down, madam, and be
If
quiet.
you three had any judgment at all, you'd see through people like that. And what's more, you'd want to do something about people who coach a child into telling lies so they can make money out
Madam,
of it.
I advise you for the last time, be quiet.
She's innocent. There's not a more decent, honest woman in this town. And if she swears she's not guilty, you can believe...
Silence in court!
Somebody said the law was an ass, and by hell, how right they are.
Security! Remove this woman. I am holding you, madam, in contempt of court.
Shame on you, man. You're a disgrace.
I advise you to think carefully about your behaviour.
This isn't justice. It's a mockery.
Norris, stay out of it.
That man in the public seats, take him down as well.
What? I'm not on trial here, you know. I haven't done anything.
Justice was done.
Justice, my backside.
Oh, you prejudice, you lot. Just 'cause one of your pals got shown up for what she is.
Yeah, all right, Scylla. Let's be off, eh? The lad wants feeding.
You played a blinder, Ches. Come on, we'll get you a burger and some fries. And then we'll go and celebrate in the Rovers.
Celebrate? I hope it chokes you. If there'd been justice here today, you'd be behind bars.
What's she mean?
Oh, take no notice of them. They're just bad losers. But we're not finished with Rita Sullivan. Not by a long chalk. We're gonna get you proper compensation for what you suffered. My client wishes to apologise unreservedly for her unfortunate outburst. In a moment of great stress, she
With the greatest of respect, Miss Mirrelson, we wish to hear the apology from Mrs. Sullivan herself.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Mrs. Sullivan.
Well, if I'm trying to explain myself, when I heard the verdict, I was totally shocked. I couldn't believe that you'd decided I was guilty.
We are not here to retry your case. You've had a fair hearing.
You might think it's fair. I certainly don't. I stood here and I was on oath and I told you the truth. And you listened to a fairy story, codged up by people who'd scrabble through a dustbin if they thought they could make a bob or two out of it.
Mrs. Sullivan.
And not only did you listen, you believed it. When anyone with half a brain could suss out it was a put-up job, designed to be a set-up for a claim for compensation.
I give you final warning.
And because you're a bunch of numbskulls, I'm landed with a criminal record, while the real criminals are out celebrating. Well, if you think that's justice, I think you're not fit to be sat up there.
You are in contempt of court. You will be remanded into custody. Security, take this woman down.
You'll have to make yourself as comfortable as you can, dear. I bet you wouldn't say no to a mug of tea, would you? I bet you've had no dinner, neither. I'll find you something. There. You seem a sensible lady to me. You won't do anything silly, will you? All the same, you understand. I had to take your bag off you. Make sure there's nothing you shouldn't have. I'll see you get it back. But I'll have to shut you in. I'll get you that tea as soon as I've got a minute.
That's brilliant, Tracy. You're doing brilliant. Keep pushing now. Come on. Keep it going. Brilliant. The baby's head's out and it's staying out this time. Get back here, you!
Sorry.
Cold damp cloth, please, Roy. She's looking a bit warm.
Right.
That's the hard part over now, Tracy. One last push on your next contraction and it'll all be over. A lot of women have a fear that if you see what's going on, you won't find them attractive again afterwards. Reassure her. Tell her you love her.